This next story is an emotional one. A man who had to hike 11 miles just to get to his parents. That man lives here in Charlotte, but his parents live in a small community called Little Switzerland. It's in McDowell, located in McDowell and Mitchell counties. It's a little over an hour drive northwest of Asheville. Our Claire Kopsky caught up with that man and shares his incredibly harrowing journey.
And it's all new at 6.
After Helene ripped through North Carolina, Sam Perkins hadn't heard from his parents. They've lived outside of Little Switzerland near the Blue Ridge Parkway for 20 years.
I love my parents so much, and I just had to know that they were okay.
So Saturday morning, he started driving from Charlotte, but was stopped in Marion.
I basically got to a spot where troopers were blocking getting up the mountain, and they said, "You can walk."
A daunting suggestion given he was almost 30 miles away from their house, but that's when the adrenaline kicked in.
Felt automatic because I couldn't do nothing, and if something had happened to them, tell myself that I made the right choice by not taking a difficult hike.
He loaded up his backpack with water, food, and a power bank and started hiking.
The higher up you went, it was worse and worse, just constant trees down like an obstacle course.
He caught a few hitchhikes, but climbed 2,200 feet of elevation through downed trees, power lines, and mudslides.
Slowly, through the mudslides, there's a lot of debris in them, and you just try to figure out where you won't sink too deep and try not to lose your shoes too often.
But after 3.5 hours, he made it to the base of his parents' driveway.
I was outside trying to do work, and it was the greatest relief I had ever felt.
His father said he didn't believe his eyes.
He came walking down the driveway, and it was like a hallucination. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
An embrace like none other, with both his mother and father, that put the gravity of the situation in perspective.
I looked at his feet and his shoes. He was covered with mud. I realized then
they were completely trapped. The road was impassable from trees and washouts, but they were on an island about a half mile from the nearest neighbor. Needless
to say, it was a hike to remember.
The job he did and making the effort to come up and to see us. Oh,
can you imagine what it was like for that dad? Well, Claire is joining us now live here in Charlotte, and this is just a remarkable story, Claire, and you told it so well there. So how are Sam and his parents doing tonight?
Well, they're doing all right tonight. They're here in Charlotte together. Well, Sam only stayed once he made that hike. He only stayed with them for about 90 minutes before he ended up helping them take down a couple of more trees until their chainsaw ran out of gas. But then that very same night, once he says that he knew his parents were okay, he made the hike back down to Marion to get to his car. On Tuesday, his parents, after waiting an hour and a half for gas, they actually made it back here to Charlotte to safety. But they told me tonight that they'll be headed back to the mountains soon to help out their neighbors. Live in Charlotte, I'm Claire Kopsky, WBTV, on your side.
Just a wonderful story of the power of family love. Claire, thank you so much.
All new.